morning, everybody. It's good to be here. The governor, and I don't know if Babydog is with the governor or not. Babydog is with the governor. The governor and Babydog are on the way, and I'm kind of like the warm-up act, okay? Elvis is on the way, and I'm the warm-up act here. I'm Dave Hardy, the Secretary of Revenue for West Virginia, and I see some familiar faces out here, and I love seeing college kids in the crowd, too. I've taught college for 21 years, and I'm going to tell you something. That is good food over here at this Falcon Center. I was highly impressed when I saw they had Starbucks and Chick-fil-A. You don't want to know what we ate in the 1970s in college. Think mashed potatoes and Salisbury steak and a big roll, okay? So it's good to be here. And those of you that don't know me, I was a Charleston City Council member for 6 years, and I was a Kanawha County Commissioner for 16 years. And I love local government. There's no substitute for good local government. When you need an ambulance, it doesn't come from Charleston, it's local government. When you need a sheriff department or a city policeman to show up on your doorstep, it's local government. So a lot of what I want to talk about here today, and what the governor's going to talk about, is how important local government is. But before I go there, let me put you in a time machine, like Casey Kasem. We'll go in the Wayback Time Machine to January 16th of 2017. And I left the county convention position, and the governor honored me by making me Secretary of Revenue. And I showed up for the first day on the job. The governor had just been sworn in. And our state budget director, Mike McCowan, who I went to college with, so I've known him 40 years, said, "Dave, buddy, you might want to look at this report." So he showed the governor and I the state's financial report for 2017. At that point, we were halfway through the fiscal year. We were $217 million in the hole. Red numbers, I can still see them in my head with brackets around them, $217 million. And I said, "Wow, that's bad news, Mike." And Mike said, "Well, buddy, let me show you the next one." So he showed me fiscal year 18, which was going to start July 1st of 2017. And it showed that we were $497 million in the hole. So my East Bank High School mathematics, I did it in my head. I was proud of myself. I said, we're over $700 million in the hole. First day we got there. And that was quite a moment. And I said, wow, this is a serious place. We got serious work to do here. So now let me fast forward you in my time machine to June 30th of 2022, 90 days ago. June 30th of 2022, we closed the books at midnight, as we are required by state law to do, and we looked at our numbers, and we said, wow, that can't be right, but it was right. West Virginia posted a $1,308 million surplus at midnight on June 30th, 2022. That is the greatest surplus by a measure of who knows what, 70–80% in the history of the state of West Virginia. That's a good moment for all of us, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or independent or whatever you are. That's a great moment for the state. And it was done under the leadership of the gentleman who's about to come in this room, Governor Jim Justice. We went from $700 million down to $1.3 billion up in 5 years. We just finished the first quarter of fiscal year 23. We posted over a $400 million surplus in the last 3 months for the fiscal year, the first quarter of this fiscal year since July 1st. Now, what's that tell you? It tells you, and it tells the governor, that it's time to put some money back in your pocket. And we started doing our research, and we said, let's look around the country and see what's going on with tax policy. And here's what we found out real fast. There are 9 states out of 50 that don't have state income tax. You know, most of us are very familiar with those states. We're talking about Florida, we all go to Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada, South Dakota, Wyoming, Alaska, all those states. When you look at what they've done in the past 10 years, those states have grown twice as fast in population as the other 41 states. The economies in those 9 states have grown 56% faster than the economy in the other 41 states. And then we did a little more research. And we started looking at telework. Telework is not the future. Telework is now. That's one of the greatest legacies of the pandemic is the advent of telework. All over the country, people are saying, I want to telework. Employers are saying, we want you to telework. Guess what? We found out. This was kind of common sense. Teleworkers can work anywhere, right? They work out of their house. Teleworkers want to go where? Where the taxes are low, right? Nobody wants to work in California when you can cross the border in Nevada and work out of your house and your taxes go down dramatically. Well, that same thing applies here. So the governor concluded that he wants to have a goal. Just like, and this governor, it's like Aaron Judge. He swings for the fences. He doesn't want to hit a single. His goal is to eliminate the state income tax in the state of West Virginia, completely and totally. And he said, let's call a special session in July, and let's start that process right now. And we did, first week of July. We said, here's a bill to immediately eliminate the first 10% of the state income tax. That's $271 million. Immediately, this tax year, that would go right back into everybody in West Virginia's pocket. $71 million. The average tax household would be about $275. Instant tax relief. And that was just the first step. The very first step. The House of Delegates passed that in one day. Almost unanimous vote, one day. Our West Virginia State Senate wouldn't even vote. Wouldn't even vote. And why would the West Virginia State Senate not vote? Wouldn't put it on the agenda. Because of Amendment 2. Amendment 2. Now let me tell you about Amendment 2. In about 27 days, actually early voting starts pretty soon, the people of West Virginia are going to decide whether we're going to amend our state constitution. This is a big deal. Amending the Constitution cannot be done by the legislature. It has to be done by a vote of the people. In 1932, the people of West Virginia, 90 years ago, voted to say in our Constitution that the property taxes that you pay remain local government. What do I mean by local government? School boards, counties, cities, all the money that you pay in your property taxes stay with local government. Guaranteed in the Constitution. West Virginia legislature cannot undo that. Well, this amendment is an attempt to undo what has been a guaranteed revenue source for local government for the last 90 years. What it says is the West Virginia legislature will now be given the authority to decide where the property tax revenue goes. That's a big chunk of money, folks. $550 million. $550 million that is now guaranteed to local government. The legislature will have the ability to take that money away from local. But don't worry. The legislature in their plan, the state senate, has said, we're going to give the money back. We'll take the money, trust, we'll give it back. I'll let you use your Virginia judgment and common sense. You think forevermore, not today, not this legislature, not this governor, not this surplus, in the year 2098, in the year 2050, in the year 2030, do you want to trust whoever the governor is and whoever are members of the legislature to receive your property tax money and decide how to give it back to you. That's what Amendment 2 is about. It's about taking away local control and then going to the legislature with your hat and saying, please, kind sirs, may we have our money back? That's where this will go. And then you will owe your political allegiance to the West Virginia legislature as local government. That is not what the people of West Virginia voted to do in 1932. And that's why you should vote no on Amendment 2 next month, on November 8th, 2022, 90 years later. Now, with that, I'm going to stop my introduction and give my introduction. That's my introduction of the subject today. The elimination of the state income tax and why Amendment 2 will be contrary to the interest of local government and will stop us from eliminating the West Virginia state income tax. That being said, I want to introduce you to the 36th governor of the state of West Virginia, the governor that took us from $700 million down to $1.3 billion up in 5 years, the Honorable Jim Justice.
I'm not here. He's still in the car downstairs.
Okay. I can tell some jokes, whatever. Jordan has told me that I need to do what they call in Hollywood this, okay? Stretch it out a little bit while the governor gets up here. I will do this. Look at these. There's been a lot of discussion about whether or not Amendment 2 is pro-business. All right? And now this is a little political science class for our students here. On this chart, you will see all the things that West Virginia has done to improve the business climate in the last 10 years. So to say that West Virginia is not a pro-business state is pretty darn inaccurate. And this chart would prove that, of course. We have reduced our severance tax for steam coal. We have eliminated the severance tax on timber. We have eliminated the business franchise tax. We have lowered our corporate net income tax. We have reduced tax to business that produce products in West Virginia. And the one that we should just take tremendous victory laps on is the state, all of us. We have reduced our workers' comp rates for 18 straight years, thereby saving employers in our state $446 million in workers' comp premiums. It's unbelievable how well we've done. And this year, we reduced our unemployment taxes. Also, my eyesight's good enough to read it, created a $600 million economic development fund. Is the governor here? All right, for the second time.
Well, how are all y'all doing? That's fantastic. Fantastic news. Okay, I gotta get rid of this phone because it'll be ringing like crazy. Babydog, when we're out there, and she can see maybe the possibility of fries or maybe a little burger and nuggets. She got all inspired. I tell people this all the time. We're on the same dietary program. But no, I'll tell you, and I won't dwell on this long and all, but the thing that absolutely she does is she makes you smile, doesn't she? And literally, the biggest thing from my side is she loves everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about this Republican, Democrat, or black or white, or rich, poor. It doesn't matter. She loves everybody. And it just hit me like many things do. You know, I really believe that the definition of coincidence is an everyday occurrence in which God chooses to remain anonymous. You know, if you just think about that. And I just kept looking at her and seeing that she made others smile, made me smile. And this crazy pandemic was really tough, super tough. And then I see that she loves everybody. And I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to probably keep saying it 1,000 more. How can the message be any more simpler than just that? If we could do that, always, we could make others smile, and we could love everybody. Wouldn't it be one way a lot better world? I mean, really. I mean, there's so much division. My Lord and living, you look at what's going on in Ukraine, look what's going on in D.C., look what's going on all across the globe. And there's so much full division, you know. And her message is, what are you looking at, baby? It's really just pretty simple. Now, with that being said, let me tell you, of course, why I'm here. I'm here because of just this. You know, I've got a couple years left as your governor. And then, you know, as far as the governorship especially, and maybe just almost anything, I'm just going to fade away. You know, it would be awfully easy to just sit back and cut ribbon after ribbon after ribbon in the months and even the short years to come, and to ride in every parade. We're going to ride this wave to the finish line. It's going to be the best of the best, the best, the best for a period of time. And then all of a sudden we come up with an idea, and it passes the House and the Senate, a resolution, whatever like that. It doesn't really ever come to me. I mean, and I was really not ever really consulted about it, but it seemed so benign. And that is, we're going to pass an amendment to make it easier for us to be able to repeal and get rid of income tax or whatever, get rid of your personal property tax or whatever. It seems so innocent. And I really believe there's many, many, many legislatures that felt the same as I would have felt at that time. Innocent, benign, good maybe idea. And now I really believe when they really see what's really going on, many, many are thinking an old Duke moment, you know, because this thing has got the level of toxicity that you can't imagine. Now, from my standpoint, I want you to know this, and I say this very proudly because I'm doing this for the right reason. I'm your governor for the right reason. I've done this all the way through for the right reason. I've not wanted anything. I drive myself, I feed Babydog, I feed myself. I don't take a salary, I absolutely, and you may think, well, gosh, he's got all the money in the world, and that's anything but the case. And God knows, really, any and every little bit could have really, really helped along the way. But with all that being said, you see, our forefathers did something that was really neat one time. They served. They stepped up and served. They lost their farms. They lost lots of stuff. They did something because they felt the cause was more important than them. Well, today, and I hate to say it, but it's God's truth. If I die, that's few and far between now. Everybody's gaming everybody. Everybody's trying to get the next highest office or stay reelected or get all the perks, and you know it, but it's a fact. But I know there's a bunch of young folks here and everything. I want you to really, really dial into me and listen to me, because, you know, where's your teacher, your professor is, and your name, sir?
Robert Wilson, sir.
Well, thank you so much for bringing them and everything, and I hope that they're not scarred for life after listening. But, you know, I mean, a guy walks in here, he talks about his dad, he's got a bulldog with him, and he's going to probably go right in first, a lot of people think. Okay. I would tell you kids this. There was a young man that came out of the car out there just a second ago, and he said, "Oh, there's Babydog and everything." Well, you know, and he said, I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Oh, just another day in the life of going to school." And I said, "Absolutely enjoy every single moment. Now, the stressful moments or hard moments, but enjoy every single moment. You can't fathom what I and lots of folks in here would give to be right back there with you right now." I told him I was there not long ago, and he said, "What, like 2 or 3 years ago?" And I said, "Well, maybe a little more than that, but really," and he was just teasing me too. But anyway, I mean, you're at an incredible school. I met your president, you know, your interim president, and who knows where that's going to lead. It may lead to a permanent presidency and everything, but I'm sure she's doing a fabulous job. This school is really, really special. This is a really shining star. I mean, say what you want. Now, the only thing I will promise you I will do, I will not blow smoke up your behind. I will not tell you something that I knowingly know is not the truth. Now, I make mistakes, but I am eat up with the truth. I'm flat up with it. Now, I think that that's another characteristic that we seem to just, you know, see. Well, I mean, politicians especially, they think, well, they can say anything they want, the god-awful lies in the history of the world, and then say, well, that's politics. Well, it's not. It's not politics. It's a flat lie. You know, that's just all there is to it. You know, well, I'm not in that boat. Now, so, here's the boat I am in, though. This idea of Amendment 2, when it was spawned, you know, was, like I said, benign, or at least thought benign. But it was spawned, and then it was like, uh-oh, we'll never get this passed. We'll never get it passed. And what we got to do is hook something to it to be able to get your vote. Now, that's what happened. They've told me this. Now, they may deny that. They're not telling the truth. They've told me this. They thought they were ingenious to put the car tax with it, and then couch it as, you vote for this and we'll get rid of your car tax. And nobody likes the car tax. So everybody said, seems okay to me, let's just check the box and get rid of it. When really and truly what this is really all about, it's not about your car tax. It's about changing the Constitution. Changing something that's been in place since 1932 and worked pretty damn good since 1932. Now, listen to it. At the end of the day, what we have done, and I don't say this braggadociously, I say this only truthfully. And when I walked in the door, like it or not like it, but our state was dead, flat, bankrupt. And I'm a business guy, and I've run hundreds of businesses and absolutely employed thousands and thousands and thousands of people. I'm a business guy. And I'm telling you without any question, when they handed me the books right off the get-go and told me what their projections were beyond the next few years, I looked right at them and said, "My God, you're bankrupt. You're bankrupt." I said, "Well, you know, what about your rainy day fund?" "Oh, well, we can't take anything out of the rainy day fund. This man gave me this stuff." Yeah, and he said, "We can't take anything out of the rainy day fund because we've already done that for the last 2 or 3 years, and now we're on the verge of getting our bonds derated." Now, that's what, when Jimmy came to town, that's what I had. Now, and there was nowhere to turn. And the only idea was do one thing, and that was cut. You know, we all believe that government is wasteful, so we can just cut, even though we've been cut, let's just cut some more. And nobody really thought that you were dealing with a business guy. And I got enough sense to know it's really tough to cut your way out of things. Now, you can cut out waste, but we had already had people that had been trying to do that for 2 or 3 or 4 years, and we still had a real big time, massive hole in the bucket. In fact, it had gotten worse. Well, how could it have gotten worse? Now, I'm teaching managerial economics at the same time, y'all. How it gets worse is just this, is the more you cut, the more people left. And the more people left, they took their revenue, their tax dollars with them, and you just kept dragging the hole with you. And you couldn't get away from it, no matter what you did. You had to find some way to start growing. Now, I'd like to take all the credit for this, not really. But at the end of the day, I really believe that the good Lord has put me in this position for a reason, and He guides and directs me every step I take. You know, I was in the shower, believe it or not, and I said to myself, "Gosh, what are we going to do? I mean, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And then it just hit me. I said, "I just wonder, what would it take to let every road job that's on the books right now, what would it take to turn them all loose tomorrow? All of them." You know, well, it would take billions to be able to do it. But what contribution would it take from every breathing West Virginian to be able to pull that off? And then how can we do it and not hurt the people and everything? And so all of a sudden that spawned the beginning idea. And right behind that, we had to change our image. We had to absolutely say education's going to be our centerpiece and do it. We got on a pathway of roads to prosperity, and all of a sudden everything starts working. Boom, 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 and off we go. And now today, you've got a state that is absolutely cooking like nobody's business. Now, you do. So I would only say to you just this, now there's only one way we can screw it up, and that's blow our own legs off. And we do that from time to time. You know, so if we don't watch, this is blowing your own legs off time. So what I had to do, I had to figure a way to get the issue that is being proposed to you, and it's being from a deceiving way. Vote for this and get rid of your car tax. You've seen the ads on TV, these poor little people are standing there saying, "Don't you want rid of your car tax? You know, really true, you can get rid of your car tax. Just vote for Amendment 2 and get rid of your car tax." Well, that's not really what this is all about at all. What this is all about is one thing and one thing alone, and it's kind of 2 or 3-fold, but what this is all about, in my mind, is just this. But first of all, let me step back one step further and just say this. I will promise you, to God above, I'll bet big bucks on this. Of everybody that's here, who benefits from this passing more than anybody? It's me. It's me. And I'm the one telling you don't do it. I'm going to benefit from this to the tune of millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And Lord knows we need them. But I'm telling you don't do it. Because you didn't sign me up to do what's best for me. Now, with that being said, who's really left on the sideline here? And who's really left on the sideline is this. You get rid of your car tax, and I'm all for getting rid of your car tax, and I'll get to that in just a second, because I've come up with a mechanism through this, your great man and all his department, to be able to do that and do that tomorrow, and take it off the issue away from the table. Now they say that that's going to cause some level of additional paperwork, and that's so much BS, it is just BS beyond BS beyond BS. It's the god-awful stuff in the history of the world. First of all, it's going to take 10 minutes for you to get your money back that you're paying on your cars, and then it's off the table. Then Amendment 2 becomes a vote on the Constitution, and it becomes a vote on one thing that is unbelievably important. And that is, you're giving up control. The counties are giving away their control. Today, their income stream is guaranteed. You're giving away your control to Charleston. For God's sake, are you out of your mind? I mean, are you completely crazy? Why in the world would you do? Bobby Pruitt said to me, he's a coach at Marshall forever, he said to me, this is no different than just it. Here's what I'll do. I'll line up a bunch of Charleston politicians here, and here's what we'll do. We'll say, all of you, get your wallets out and give us all your money. You give us all your money. And any more money you have coming in, we want that too. And we'll promise to give it back. Now think about that. You've got politicians that come and go like a revolving door. Some get elected, some don't. It's always who knows going to be there, who's going to be there, even if they were dead level, sincere and honest. And if they were that, why wouldn't they immediately embrace, let's get rid of the car tax, okay, let's do it tomorrow. If the car tax was the deal, we'll do it tomorrow. Now they want to say, no, we don't even want to do that, because what it's going to do is going to cause 10 minutes of paperwork. We're going to hide behind that bush. It's a constant revolving door to achieve one thing, and that is this, and this I don't believe in. I believe in our large corporations, and I believe in our large corporations from out of state. I love it when they come and they bring opportunity and jobs. My God, I'm a business guy. I am 100% in that boat. But today, those corporations as a whole are doing really, 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 really good. And our people, this is a decision that we're going to take, and we're going to give our large corporations a gigantic tax break. And the guy that's got his dinner bucket right over there, or gal that's got her dinner bucket that's going to work, we're just going to turn our back on them. And at the end of the day, on top of that, if that isn't bad enough, we're going to take all your control and place it in Charleston, and you just bet that things are going to be good forever. Now look, if you believe things are going to be good forever, now you can flatter me and say, well, I know they're going to be good as long as Jim's there. Well, that'd be flattering and everything, because that's not even remotely true. Because we don't know. We mind the score as best we possibly can. I mean, really and truly, what happens if in 5 minutes, some tactical nuclear weapon goes off in Ukraine? Well, I'll tell you, the next thing that happens is the stock market's 9,000. And as soon as the stock market's 9,000, your 401ks, the bond ratings and everything goes straight to who knows where it's going to be. Then all of a sudden you spin around 4 times, and the economics of the growth and all this stuff that's going on is gone. It can happen just like that. It could be happening right now. And there's a million other things. Because dupe happens all the time. PEI could get underwater. We could have matching dollars that we would need to, the federal government right now give us $6 billion for highways and all that stuff, and all kinds of sewage projects and everything. But we got to match $1 billion of it. Well, I mean, what happens if you got to do something? Pay raises. What happens if you got to do something? And then, and I hope the powers to be at Fairmont State are here, because you got to really listen to me on this, because you're really, really exposed, and you may just don't know it. If we pass Amendment 2, you can bet your life the machinery and inventory tax will be done tomorrow. It will cost $500 million. It's a big deal, okay? There's even some possibility that they will say, let's do car tax, machinery and inventory, and let's do 10% of the personal income tax. Then it's $900 million, okay? Now all the surpluses they're all gone. That's if things stay good, okay? Now if you spin around a couple times and they don't end up good, then here, Fairmont State, you better listen to me. You better listen to me, because at the end of the day, I can't lose in this. And the reason I can't lose is just this. The wave is going to carry me to the end without any trouble. And on top of all that, if you decide to vote for this, which would be the craziest thing under the sun, but if you decide to not be disciples and tell your in-laws and outlaws and all the people around you that they better not vote for this, and you stand on the sideline and let that happen, then what I'll do is, if it passes, I'll be super respectful to the people's wishes. I'll be super respectful to everybody, and I'll say, I recognize exactly where we are, and I am going to honor the people's wishes and everything else, and then I'll ride the wave, and then after I get through riding the wave, you'll see me at Walmart or somewhere. And I'll walk right up to you, and I'll point my finger at you, and I'll say, I told you so. I can't lose. There's no way. There's no possible way. I want you to realize and just be educated on what you're about to have happen here. The last thing, Fairmont. Think about Fairmont State University. Think about WVU. Think about Marshall. Think about all higher ed. This just happened. This isn't like that I'm making this up. This just happened. One of the two players that's driving this show decided that absolutely, when we're working on income tax, that an absolute surefire way to be able to take care of this was cut out higher ed funding. That's fact. We were going to cut out, and I'm not telling you the truth, we were going to cut out all of WVU's funding, because WVU is a giant and they can stand anything. Maybe not all Fairmont States, but Marshall's, we can absolutely cut out Marshall's, and we can save $200 million. And we can put that $200 million towards something else. You think what WVU brings to the table. And then you just think what Marshall brings to the table, and Fairmont State, and on and on. I mean, you think of what we bring to the table. And the philosophy was, well, they're doing so good, they can do it anyway. I'm going to tell you, now I point my finger. If this passes, and the bump in the road happens, and I'll promise you that will happen. When that bump in the road happens, the very first place that legislatures go to find dollars is higher ed. because they think, you know, the charter's doing things crazy. I mean, so buckle up. I mean, you know, in all honesty, you better get really in full motion. Full motion. So, to end this thing from my side, here's what I'd say. I'd say the big corporations are doing daggone good right now. And really and truly, I would be the guy that would say, don't throw away the machinery and inventory tax forever. Absolutely, but get the alignment the right way here. You got John and Edith over here that are dealing with $5 gasoline and grocery bills out to yin yang and don't know where to turn. I mean, for crying out loud, help John and Edith a little bit. And then, let's think about this. If you just closed your eyes and you just were anything, I mean, you could be a moron and figure this one out. You know, all you got to do is just say, if we were to get on a pathway of getting rid of our personal income tax, you got all this ungodly population that's driving through us to get to Tennessee. You watch it on TV every day where Florida and Texas and all these places are going. South Carolina's on a pathway now getting rid of theirs. Georgia's on a pathway. Mississippi's on a pathway. You're going to stand holding the bag, and we're going to drive a stake right in the heart because we led with machinery and inventory. Look, I'm your number one believer in business. I'm your number one believer in real conservative values. I am not one to get all wrapped up in Republican and Democrat and all that, and I'm not here to get in that level of food fight at all. You know, I do believe in life, and I do believe in your guns, and I absolutely believe in business, and I do believe in conservative thought and everything. I believe in all that. That's not hogwash. But in this, I know we're doing the wrong thing. And I know you're going to really put yourself at real risk. Now, if we can just close our eyes and say, forever, things are going to just race to the good. And it's just going to be a whale of a ride forever and ever and ever. And you believe that, then Babydog has got you some wonderful oceanfront property in Kansas that she'll sell you. And you have, because that's not a rational thought with me. I've seen it when it's just so good, it's hard to believe that it could turn the other way. Man, I've seen it when it was so bad that it was hard to believe that maybe it could possibly get good. It does. I tell my ball teams that I coach all the time, and you guys listen to me about this, here's what I tell them. I said, the reason I love basketball so much is it cycles so much like life. It'll take you to the lowest lows, and then it'll turn around and take you back to the highest highs. And before you know it, you'll be back to the lowest lows. And you know what? That's what we deal with in life every single day. Every day. So, I would tell you now, from my standpoint, if you believe what I'm telling you, and I'll answer any question you want to ask me. If you believe what I'm telling you, I'd say get off your butt and really get with it. Because you only have a short window here, and the big money is flooding the airwaves, and they're going to absolutely turn their back even on reason. If the whole thing would get rid of your car tax, let's do it. Justice has got a way to do it. Let's do it right now. And then, we don't want to do this. So really and truly, that's not the issue, is it? Well, if it's not the issue, what is the issue? And the issue then becomes Toby and Edith over here don't matter. What we're really trying to do is protect big corporations or Jim Justice. We're trying to give Jim Justice money now. That's not what we ought to do in the order. There's nothing wrong with big corporations. There's nothing wrong with big corporations doing really good and making good profit and providing jobs and opportunity. But the last of my last of my last is this is the ultimate build a field and they'll come. What if they don't? What if they don't? The field I want to build is your personal income tax. I guarantee you there's no way around it. You cut the income tax, more people will come. You cut it more people will come. There's no question. Even if they don't come, you'll spend the money. And then we have our own incentive program going on all the time. They're going to take it out of state. You know, I'm right on this one. I've been right on a lot of them. I've been wrong on some things. But I don't think I've been wrong on stuff with the government. And you know why? Because I really believe the good Lord lets me just do some stuff sometimes on my own, just so that I'll know that I can screw stuff up and everything. But in this, He has a vested interest in you just as much or more than I. And so I believe He's sitting right here, right now. And He's telling me what to do. And so, you know, I'm going to keep doing what He says. And really, I can't lose in that. I can't lose it all. You know, so at the end of the day, you may not like what I do, but if He says do it, I'm doing it, and Babydog likes it too. Now, the last thing I'll say is this, is if you want to ask questions, that's great. I'll answer any question I possibly can. If I can't, maybe Dave can answer and everything, or Secretary of Revenue. And then if you want to come up and say hi to Babydog, get your picture made with her or whatever like that, I'll sit right here with you and everything. So don't feel like I'm just going to run out the door. Now, ask anything you want to ask. I'm sorry?
Obviously, you've covered.
Well, I've tried.
I want to say one thing to you. I think during the pandemic, you were the very best that anybody could be. Right.
Well, if you're tears, if you don't watch out, I'm going to start tearing all up here too. Now we're going to start a cry fest going on if you don't watch out. But let me tell you this just on that real quick, and this is all there's to it. That really affected every single last one of us, and it's still doing it. And if we don't watch out, you know, I really am a promoter of vaccinations or booster shots and everything. I'm also the guy that say, listen, if you don't want to do that, that's great with me too. I want to be respectful of everybody's freedoms and wishes and all that. I do think we can live with this, but I don't think it's going to go away, not go away for a little while. But when you've read 7,450 plus names, you know, look, you know, I know how bad those people are hurting, and that was a big part of turning and looking at Babydog, and then she'd make you smile, and just seeing who she was, and it just don't think it hadn't been tough reading those names. But it hadn't been nearly as tough as what those folks were that have lost loved ones and friends and everything. It's been bad, really bad. It could have been a lot worse. There's lots and lots and lots of us that believe that, you know, West Virginia's third oldest state and eat up with chronic illnesses and everything, and all the people in the universe are driving through West Virginia all the time. We don't have an ocean as a barrier or whatever. It could have been really bad. Now, let's just tell the open, dead level truth. You stayed right with me, and you pulled the rope right with me every day. And all of our healthcare folks and EMS folks and all those folks, they ran right straight into the fire, and they stood right with us and helped us every way. The workers at Kroger's kept the Kroger's open, everything, every single thing we did it. We did it. Not Jim Justice, we did it together. And it was, and I hate to say it this way, it was a big ass deal. That's all there is to it. And I know you had to turn and look at my behind when I did it. But in all honesty, it was a heck of an accomplishment by you. And I was just honored to kind of be with you in the boat, because we did a heck of a job. It could have been really bad, really bad. Everybody predicted it to be really bad for West Virginia. And you led the way most of the time. Somebody asked something.
Governor Justice, if you're unsuccessful in your opposition to this amendment and it is passed in November, what do you plan to do next thereafter? Do you have any detailed plans on how you want to tackle this? Would you support the repeal of certain taxes? What do you want to do in regard to that?
Well, like I said, if I'm unsuccessful, and really and truly, that's where we really need you, because we got to this late to the game. This has been going on for a year, with people going around and seeing people and promising the moon and everything else under the sun for a blooming year. Unbeknownst in a lot of ways to me, and I wasn't ever asked for the target. And now they want to debate. I mean, my God, Olivia, are you kidding me? I mean, we've been at this for a blooming year. Now you want to debate and just stand and, spew out crazy stuff. But from my standpoint, what are you going to do? Well, I really, like I said, I believe the good Lord made me Jim Justice for a reason, and as long as I had breath and everything, I'm going to try to fight to the very end, no matter what. At the end of the day, I'm going to be first and foremost respectful to the voters. Now, I'll do that. I really will do that. And I hate to say this, but I will be the guy in the Walmart telling you I told you so, too. And that doesn't help anything, does it? But on top of that and everything, I would just say just this, that today the House's view versus the Senate's view is at polar opposites. Now, they'll probably end up getting together, but they're at semi-polar opposites. Now, and what could very well happen is the people could vote for this and it just spin around, and forever you've lost control at a local level, and you've given, I mean, this is like the states giving up all their control of Washington, D.C. I mean, this is crazy land stuff, but nevertheless, it could just spin around aimlessly, and you really, as far as getting your car tax, back, whatever like that, who knows, it may be years before that ends up happening. My way, it could happen tomorrow. I mean, it could happen tomorrow, If they just say, well, that's the thing we've been griping about, let's get rid of that. We can do that tomorrow. You can start sending checks back immediately. And these would be checks for the car tax you paid for this year. Is that not correct? I mean, tomorrow, if that were the issue, but that's not the issue, you see. And then all the other stuff is, well, what do you do? Then you've got a philosophy difference between, just stay with me just 1 second. What's the definition of the swamp? Now think about it. What's the swamp really all about? The swamp is about special interest lobbyists standing there with money. And they're handing that money, if Dave's a politician, if he's a legislator, or he's a member of Congress, or delegate, or what, they're handing Dave money for his vote. They're buying his vote for XYZ corporation or whatever it may be, or whatever the goal is, the lobbyist is employed by them and handing him money to get his vote, or promising campaign donations, promising support in the next election, whatever it may be, and getting his vote. Now that's what the swamp is. Like it or not like it, that's exactly what you've got going on right now. From my standpoint, the philosophy difference is you got the swamp, or you got let's do what's right for the people. My whole thing's the people. My thing is every dollar that you give back to the people in their personal income tax, you're giving dollar for dollar to the people. You're not shoving the corporations away forever. For God's sakes, I got a ton of corporations. You're not shoving them away forever. All you're just saying is right now, you got a lot of people standing on the street corner that are hurt. We got to help them. And we got to prop up our economy, and we got to find a way to drive growth. I don't think the machinery and inventory thing will drive one doodly amount of growth. Remember now, think about this, Berkshire Hathaway, Nucor, Pure Watercraft, Green Power. It just goes on and on and on. Think about it now. Why would I tell you this if I'm the guy that prides myself on telling you the truth? Not one company has said to the governor, I'll come to West Virginia if you get rid of your machinery and inventory tax. Not one. Why are we blooming doing this? It's a swamp. He's got the money. He's got the money, and I got his vote. That's what we're doing this for. That's all we're doing it for. Well, I just think that's really wrong. I think it's really wrong. I think the whole swamp idea is wrong. I think what's going on in Charleston is real low grade compared to what's going on in D.C. And D.C. is so horrible it's off the chart. What I would do is I would still try to propose, the personal income tax and rewarding our people back, and probably I won't get the first base. And then I'll just go cut another ribbon, and I'll try to recruit another Berkshire Hathaway, and I'll get 4 more before I leave, and then when I leave, I'll wave to you, and then I'll see you in Walmart. You won't like me when I see you in Walmart, because the wheels will all flown off, and you'll be sitting there thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? And then you got this big guy that's standing behind the bread rack, and he's saying, I told you so.
Governor Justice, our local assessor of Harrison County, told us what would happen if this was passed. And for the counties to raise the revenue for them to provide the vital services, they would have to defund the fire service, the police, senior citizen centers, all the other social programs that are in place now, before they can raise any revenue via your property tax. What's your thoughts on that?
Do you know what sad singing and slow walking sounds like at a funeral? That's my thoughts. That's exactly my thoughts. Because that's where we'll be. Now, the other thing is about the most bizarre thing in the world is a lot of the powers to be are going around telling people each county's going to get another $1 million. Now, you have to have heard that. Where's it come from? I mean, where does it come from? That's my point is, I can say anything to you if I just want to make it up, It may happen. It may happen. If you're willing to give up all your control on a dream, then it may happen. It may. But the one thing that you can promise is, let's say it happens for 7 straight years. At some point in time, we're going to have a bump. Listen, yay, Lord of mercy. My dad died in 1993. We've been in the coal business forever. In the 70s, late 70s, the coal prices were going like crazy and everything else, and then all of a sudden, you know, things got really, really tough. And my dad died, like I said, in 1993, and it had been tough for, who knows, 8 or 10 years. And I thought, well, sure to goodness things will halfway get better. And I got to tell you this story because it's about my dad, and this is a for real could be. In 1971, the Ohio River Barge Company dedicated a boat in my dad's honor, one of these tugboats that pushes barges up and down the river. And I gave the dedication prayer on the boat. And I was 19 years old at the time. And my mom broke a bottle of champagne on the boat, and we launched the boat in New Orleans, and there was probably 500 people there, and I was scared out of my mind because I was anything but Reverend Jim. And I thought, well, what in the world? You know, I saw the boat one other time in my life, and I saw that probably 6 months later, going under the bridge right there close to Marshall University. Never saw the boat again. Dad died in 1993. That was 1971. 1993, 22 years later, Dad dies. Okay? And he's running the coal business, and I'm running the ag side and our land side, and I don't know doodly what in the world I'm going to do. I mean, you're talking upside down. I was really scared. And the very month that Dad died, our coal production was horrible, and our loss was big time. We didn't have very much money in the bank, and it was not good. Not good. Anything but good. And I didn't know what to do, and I kept trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do about selling coal? The price of our coal, which was metallurgical coal, the highest grade coal on the planet, our cost was $34.25 a ton, and Wheeling Pittsburgh Steel, not far from here, called and said, if you can get here today we'll buy a good bit amount of coal from you, but the price is $33.05. I'll never forget that, never in my life. Well, I didn't even have a top coat, it was in January. And I went running home and got a sport coat on and a tie and called Charleston and chartered a plane and flew to Wheeling that I'd never been to in my life, and landed on a runway with a snowstorm like you can't fathom. Snow blowing sideways, wind howling. I'll never forget, I got out, walked on the tarmac, freezing to death, got in a cab, and down the hill I went. And when I got to the bottom of the hill, we turned. And I looked out the window, and there's Dad's boat. Right beside me. When we got to business, and off we went. So I really believe wholeheartedly about coincidence and everything else in my life. But I can tell you, at the end of the day, that things may be okay for 3 years, or 7 years, or 2 years, or a year and a half, but at some point in time, Duke will really happen. And when it does, they'll have to do exactly what we've done in the past. Cut. And when they cut, the first place they're going to cut is higher ed. The next place they're going to do is turn to the counties and say, we don't have all the money that we promised you we're going to give you. Big risk. Big risk. You don't have to do it because we've taken the car tax off the table now. Don't have to worry about that. Your vote has nothing to do with car tax now. Your vote has only one thing to do with it, and that's change the Constitution and move control from the counties to Charleston. That's it. Now, if you believe in what I'm telling you, go to work. But you don't have much time. Yes, ma'am.
One of the arguments that they're using or saying is that just by voting on this, you're not giving them that right to do, you're just giving them the right to talk. That's one of the things I heard over and over and over.
No, that's not right. No, but that's not right. By you doing this, they have the right to change taxation, to change code. okay? They have the right to do that. Now, they gotta pass it. They've gotta vote on it in the Senate, come up with something, and then take it to the House and pass it, and then the governor can veto it. And okay, let's say I do. But the majorities that where they are, if, you know, really and truly, my veto is just worth nothing almost. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I could veto it, they'll override my veto, and it'll be done. They have the absolute right to absolutely change the tax code, you know. And if they change the tax code, like I said, it's just as simple as that. I have no earthly clue. Now, I can understand, well, people want rid of their car tax. Well, that's gone. That's off the table. That's off the table completely. Now, from the standpoint of why in the world you would give up control to a bunch of politicians, and, you know, and I guess I'm that too, to a bunch of politicians. Why would you do that? You know, especially something that is a changing of the Constitution. That's something that been here since 1932, seems to have worked. My God, they can do anything. I mean, do you not realize that? They can do anything. They can say, you know, we believe, and there's a lot of folks down there that believe this, that there's still so much waste, it's unbelievable. So I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's just cut all the counties 20%, because you're not doing anything right. We're just going to cut your county by 20%, and we'll be fine because it's just waste. Well, you know, look, we're doing awfully good in West Virginia right now. We're doing beyond good. Why don't we celebrate all the goodness we're doing for everybody and just keep rolling and keep it going? And the reason for that is politicians have this desire beyond belief to get on a soapbox and say, look what I did, look what I did. Well, you know, that's why I say, spin around 2 or 3 times, you can blow your own legs off, and then that's just it.
It's also going to affect the public education. You talked about hiring, and it will trickle down to the local.
Question? Without any question? Yesterday, I was talking with Jeff Bryant, who's the superintendent of Greenberg County. He said it'll take $3 million out of Greenberg County. You know, well, if that be the case, great time of day. I mean, you just look here. This was given to us, given to the secretary. I wasn't there. Given to us by Chairman Tarr. This is given to us. Now, just think how silly this is. This is what I'm talking about. In his model, he says that the county replacement revenue, now let me get on the right line here. Now, the budget is going to stay 4.645 in 23, 4.645 in 24, 4.645 in 25, and 4.645 in 26. Now, just listen. I mean, you know, all of you run your houses and everything else on the sun. My God, who in the world can keep the level of spending exactly the same and guarantee that, and then use that to perpetuate the numbers that they're presenting to you? That's what they're doing. You can make up any number. Listen to this one. I'll end with a little fun, okay? This is very similar to what it could very well be. There's a man that's the CEO, or a lady that's the CEO, and she's interviewing for the chief financial officer job. And there's 3 applicants. And the first person that comes in, she says to him, she says, son, what's 2 plus 2? And the guy said, well, it's 4. And they said, well, we appreciate you so much, and we'll get back to you. And they leave. And so the second applicant comes in, and it's a lady. She says, darling, tell me, what is 2 plus 2? She says, well, it can be 0, it could be 4, or it could be -4. You know, if it were negative 2, it's -4. You know, if it's a positive 2 and a negative 2, it's 0, or plus 2 is 4. She said, thank you so much, and then we'll get back to you. And she leaves, and then comes this other guy. And he says, this CEO looks right at him and says, what's 2 plus 2? And he gets up, and he comes over, and gets right up close to her ear and said, anything you want it to be. Now think about it. Think about it. We don't want to be doing this now. That's what I'm telling you. To me, it's really simple. You know, if I tell you today it's a 7, you come back and see me 3 weeks from today, and honest to God, it'll be a 7. Now, I'll make some mistakes, but I won't ever tell you something that I know is not right. No way. And you've got to play crazy money in a lot of different, you've got to depend on growth out to yin yang and everything else under the sun to make numbers come out. You're rolling the dice in a big way. I love you with all my heart, and I mean it. And I appreciate you. You pulled the rope right with me, and you made me really proud. My dad was a captain in World War II, Air Force captain, flew a B-29 bomber. And Dad would have always said to me, it's been an honor flying with you. I couldn't tell you anything more flattering than just that. It really has been. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me. God bless you.